Hey everyone, this is Neil Napier here. Just give me a very quick shout out, a quick yes or a hello to let me know that you can hear me all right, and then we will get started. Because today's session is going to be about best practices for building a community and marketing your courses using Facebook groups. Now, I'll tell you this, we're not going to spend a lot of time inside of Kyvio today, but we are instead going to be focusing on how to build a tribe. Perfect. Annette, good to have you here. Mandy, you as well. Giselle, good to see you here. Good. Yep, Giselle says go to catch up on all the replays. I'll link you all to the playlist that we have with all the videos. I'll do that inside a Facebook group tomorrow. But today, let's talk about, hey Lucian. All right. Today, let's talk about best practices for building a community and marketing your courses using Facebook group. Like I said, today, I'm not even going to go into Kyvio because the focus now is shifting towards driving traffic to make sales. So let me start, as always, with some drawings and show you why a community building is important. So back when I started in 2012 was the first time I did anything related to online marketing. The biggest asset that everyone told me about was an email list. So build an email list, email that email list, and it's going to work really well for you. And it did work, and it does still work quite well to this day, to the point that at one point I had an email list of about 4,000 people. It was fresh, it was very, very new, and in about a week's time I promoted a launch and I did about $40,000 in sales. So I made about, refunds and everything considered, I made about $20,000. So having a list is one of the most essential things you can have in your business. I still recommend it because it works really well. But between 2012 to 2018, few things have happened. For example, to begin with, most recently, the GDPR laws have become a little bit stricter, right? So GDPR rules dictate that if you're marketing to someone, you need to have explicit permission to do so. And of course, you shouldn't spam and everything, that's a given. We never recommend you do that. It never really works. But when it comes to GDPR, the simplest recommendation is that only mail someone when you have permission to send them a marketing email. That's one thing. Second thing, what's happening recently I read about is that I think Yahoo got bought out last year or something. I can't remember exactly when. Again, I don't know which company it got bought out from. Now, there are about 10% of people out there that are still using Yahoo emails. At least in our email list, 10% of people still use Yahoo. So since Yahoo got bought out, what started happening was they started migrating email servers on Yahoo, which means that when you would send an email to something at yahoo.com, previously the owner would get it, but now because they're migrating servers, a lot of emails are getting lost. It's a well-known fact. You can Google this, that a lot of email marketing providers have big problems, big issues with Yahoo right now. Even for myself, we send out an email, and every time we mail out something, we get 2 to 5 spam reports. And previously, before Yahoo bought out, this used to be literally zero. We used to get 0 spam reports from our emails that we would send, but now we're getting 2 to 5. In fact, in one of the emails, we got 10 people randomly within a minute. This is not even like at different times. Within a minute, 10 people marked our email as spam, all at Yahoo email address. Now, that's not people actually doing it, but that's Yahoo rejecting our emails en masse. So my point being that because of GDPR, Yahoo, and a lot of other reasons, mobile apps and whatnot, your visibility with emails is going down. It still works, but I can tell you it doesn't work as well as 2012 or 2013. So times have changed and you have to adapt. What does work well though, so previously, you could market by basically sending 1 email a day, and that would get some traction, that would get people to be like, okay, cool, this person's contacted me, about a new thing, or they're teaching something different today. Let's see what they're teaching. But what's happened now is that markets have become so crowded because, the more and more we want people to become teachers, the more and more they do marketing, more and more they use email. So inboxes are becoming really, really crowded. So just like Mark Zuckerberg, when Mark Zuckerberg invented, or let's say developed Facebook, his one goal was to keep people's attention, right? That was his goal. He said, what can we do to keep people on Facebook for the longest amount of time. I mean, they're still doing it. The objective hasn't changed. They're introducing videos, they're introducing integrations with Instagram, everything that they can do under the sun to get your and my attention. So what's happening is that Facebook is sucking out a lot of energy, a lot of attention from email inboxes. What that means for you is that I'm not saying email marketing is dead, far from it. I think it's still very, very profitable, but just relying on email marketing is suicidal. If I ask you how much of the money you make via email marketing and you say, oh, I only make money when I send out an email, so I make 100% from my email marketing, I can guarantee you that your business is not going to last for a long time. Maybe 5 years, maybe if you're lucky 10 years, but eventually it's going to dissolve. You will see that if your business is here right now and maybe it was there, it will continue to fall sharply and then plateau. And then slowly fall and plateau and fall and plateau. But the people who are doing much better are people who are actually, even if they are, let's say here, they're down here, instead what they're doing is they're using communities, and they'll plateau for a bit and then use communities more, and along with the Facebook, along with the email list that they have, and they'll continue to grow. So growing at this stage in this time and age requires you to grab people's attention. So if you're not grabbing their attention, if you're not building trust, you're going to fail. Now, if you know me, I'm just going to jump in here for a second. If you know me, people, I mean, we pay a lot of attention to people inside our Facebook group. We do live videos, we do, curiosity-driven posts, we do different kind of posts, different kinds of things. We ask questions to get people to interact more. And Giselle does that, Marilyn does that, they respond, right? Why? Because number one, people want to contribute to something. The problem with email lists, and again, please understand throughout all this, I'm not bad-mouthing email lists. I mean, I rely on email marketing for my business to survive, right? But the fact of the matter is email list is not the only thing remaining out there, right? You got to look at other ways of getting that traffic as well. So if I think about why people interact and engage in your group, it's because one, there's personalization built in. Okay, which means that people actually see you, and a lot of people are, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right, are voyeurs, which means that if someone joins the Kyvio group, they're going to want to see who Neil Napier is. So they'll jump onto my profile, they'll add me as a friend, or they just browse through my pictures and see what I look like, see what kind of life I lead, right? So a lot of people are voyeurs. I think, again, that's the right way to pronounce it. Someone might correct me. Lurkers, or Giselle calls it. Yeah, well, lurkers are the kind, yeah, exactly. But all they want to do is they want to look at what I'm doing, right? They might not contribute, they might not even have their own business, but they're just attracted to a personality. But those are important as well, because whenever you have personality-driven posts, they engage, they interact. If I was to go into our group now and post a picture of me traveling, a lot of people that haven't commented for months will jump in and say something, right? So personalization, people can see you, that helps a lot. The second thing that helps a lot in a Facebook group is a community. Now, also understand that I'm talking about a Facebook group, but you can build a group outside of Facebook as well if you want. Like I know Giselle does that, and I think she can attest to the idea as well that a group of close-knit people, people that look for your messages, is a very important asset to have, right? So a community aspect really helps people because they know that when they get stuck, they can just jump into a Facebook group and they can ask questions and hopefully someone responds in time. So the community aspect is something a lot of people look forward to as well. That's the second thing. The third thing is that people hang out, again, in this case, specifically for Facebook, people hang out on Facebook anyway. And remember, most people are not hanging out on Facebook to lose weight, to basically, build a business. They're mostly hanging out there to interact with other people. So if you can create surroundings in which people can interact with other people, again, tying back to the community, they're going to pay attention. And honestly, if they're on their Facebook anyway, they're not in the email, it is much easier for you to get their attention here. I think the last time I read a statistic on this, it said that people on average spend 1 hour a day on Facebook. I think in emails, they spend, unless they really absolutely have to, they spend like 40 minutes or even less. And when people go to emails, it's not really to browse around and look at how everyone else is doing. It's with a specific purpose, to send out an email or to open an email they're expecting from someone else, or to delete emails. But when they go to Facebook, they are browsing, and if you can grab their attention, then they jump on. So Facebook is a good place to build a community and energize people. So when you do that, they will know, like, and trust you. And I'm sure you know of the concept of know, like, and trust. So if you want people to buy from you, you need them to trust you, right? If you want people to trust you, at the very least, they should like you, or they should like the way you present things. If you want them to like you or like your processes, then at the very least, they should get to know you. So being part of Facebook requires posting often, engaging with people, asking questions, understanding what it is they need, and giving it to them. And if you have 100, 200,000, 10,000 people inside a Facebook group, and that is your Facebook group, there are a lot of things you can do in that. You can run polls, right? If you have a specific campaign and you want to advertise something, you can run a live video, right? If you want to ask questions like, hey, I'm thinking about building a course on this topic, you can ask people questions and they will tell you what they want to learn, and you can build it for them. So a Facebook group or a community, let's just call it a community, is something that you should absolutely strive to build. It would make a massive, massive difference in your business. Okay? So that explains why you should build a community. Now let's talk about actually building a community. I'm going to go look at questions if you have any. If you don't, I'll keep moving forward. Okay? Giselle says, yep, I use Mighty Networks, and that's where 80% of my eyes are on my content. 80%, that's massive. 80% is really, really big. Okay? It's like a close-knit circle where people feel more comfortable being in a group environment versus a public Facebook page. So Giselle's built a very tight-knit group of people away from Facebook, because I think the idea behind that was we don't want someone prying. We don't want someone basically looking at our, what kind of stuff we're sharing, and that's a good thing, right? So she did that, and now she has people who are actively participating in the group, and they want to be there because they're meeting people like themselves. So figure out what works for you and your business. And Giselle says, yep, my email list has about a 40% engagement, but the group is huge, and so it should be. So let's talk about building a group. Now, I'm going to go a little bit against what you see me doing right now, and I'll show you how I'm changing gears. I think I covered this in the YouTube video. I covered this, not YouTube video, Facebook Live video in our group. I covered this in one of the posts. But typically, here's the kind of groups that you have. You have, and again, I'm talking about groups that you own. I'm not talking about groups that you can find on Facebook. Again, when I say group on Facebook, I really mean a community. So there could be what is like an open for all community, right? I don't mean open like anyone can join at any time and, without any control, but it just means that there are very few or maybe even no restrictions on people to join a group, right? Maybe they just have to give their email address. Maybe they have to be enthusiastic about a certain thing. For example, if I was building a community, let's say around Kyvio, it wouldn't, like, the open community used to be Kyvio. So Kyvio used to be a very open group. Anyone can come in. If you have questions about Kyvio, you can ask them there as well. But we decided to change that. We said, okay, now this community is a closed community, right? Which means that within this community, only people who own Kyvio can get in. And now we're very strict about it. In fact, so much so that we are even removing people that don't own Kyvio and don't really add much engagement to the group, right? So only people that own Kyvio can now be in this group. So we went from open to closed. And then another kind of group that you can have is, let's call it an elite group. And I'll explain the idea behind this. So whenever you do some kind of, let's say, training, like in our case, we're lucky we can do mass trainings, as in we can teach 1,000 people at the same time. We have that many courses available out there, that many students out there. But here's what we can do. I'm not saying we do that, but I'm telling you what we can do. We can take the cream of the crop. We can take people who have made let's say, money with our courses, who have generated traction with what we teach, who have basically proven results and can help other people as well. We can move them into what is known as an elite group, right? These are the people who have proven results. These are the people that have generated, let's say, X amount of money, and we tell them like, hey, I've looked at your progress and it's great. I'm setting up a private elite group where I'm going to bring in people who are already successful. And once a while, once a month, hopefully you can share something useful with other people. If you do, you get to stay in the group. If you don't share something useful, you don't get to stay in the group, right? But that way, let's say there are about 50 people in that group, you learn something from someone every day. So it's an elite group. The only thing I ask is that you contribute something of value once a month. What's working in your business, what's not working in your business. If you don't do that, we will kick you out. It's a free group. There's no payment, but this is how we're arranging it. That's what I could do. Or I could even charge for it. I could say that the cost for it is $49 per month. It is still free for, let's say, 1 month, but then, you still have to contribute. We manage the group. We basically combine all the information from the group and create something, but you still have to contribute something. And that's only $49 a month. First month is free. Come in, have a look. If you find something useful, great. If you don't, that's fine as well, right? So that could be the elite group. Now, again, we don't run this at the moment. And we don't run this anymore either. We don't run an open group. We just run this one. So there are good things and bad things about running only the closed group. Because now we're running this group where we only allow Kyvians in, what we're going to do is we're going to essentially keep only those people in there that are paying us money or have paid us money, for starters. We're not going to help any freeloaders. Secondly, what I don't want is my, well, I say my competition, but I know even ClickFunnels group, ClickFunnels people, ClickFunnels management groups, some of them are in our group as well, and that's okay. I mean, I might remove them eventually, I might not, depends. If they have Kyvio, I won't remove them, obviously. But this gives me a space to talk just about Kyvio, get critical feedback, showcase all the features that we have coming up. Basically, this is, again, a group of people who like and love what we do with Kyvio. Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. Otherwise, they would get a refund and not interact, not engage, and that's fine. They will leave. So this is already a high engagement group, right? I would say, well, high engagement, let's just call it actually medium engagement. Okay, but also in terms of how much I have to contribute here in terms of time, not a lot, right? I have to make sure the software runs fine. I have to make sure once in a while I do some training. I mean, like webinars like these, and people are usually happy with that because everyone has their own business to run. They're in there because they want to discuss how to best use Kyvio. Whenever they want to use Kyvio, they'll come in and ask questions. When they don't, they won't. So how does this translate to your business? If you're running let's say a membership site, you can build a closed group where everyone who buys one or other products that you have gets into that group. In our case, we only have one product, main core flagship product called Kyvio. Any of the membership product that we do feeds into this as well. But essentially, anyone who has Kyvio gets in here. That's like, it's something they unlock. It's like gamification. Okay. Eduardo, this webinar is not about email ramp. I'm not sure why you thought so. This webinar is about, let me show you. It's about Kyvio live workshop series. So if you have access to Kyvio, if you signed up to Kyvio at some point, you probably registered to this as well. Okay. I hope it's clear. If not, I apologize. All right, let me go back here. So I'm talking about Facebook groups. So this is how you can implement it in your business as well. Build a membership site and bring everyone who buys one of your products into this group as well. As a, hey, you get access to this exclusive Facebook group as well. So you can absolutely do that. And don't be afraid of kicking people out once in a while. It just keeps things fresh. Now, that's what we're doing at the moment. What we are missing is an open group. Now, I'm going to give you Kyvio example. Actually, I don't know if I should tell you this stuff. I don't know if I should even say this stuff in recording. So I'm going to just filter my thoughts a little bit because there's some stuff that is proprietary. I can't share that. But let's put it like this. Kyvio is where we want people to end up, right? Kyvio is what we want people to buy. But here's the thing. My goal in life is to help thousands of people, millions of people do what I do, turn what they know into something they can sell. That's my ultimate goal. And honestly, as much as I want to, I will not achieve that with Kyvio. Why? Because I don't think 1 million people will buy Kyvio. I don't think I can impact 1 million people with Kyvio. So what can I do? I can look for a bigger aim, a bigger ambition. So what we are doing now, starting tomorrow, we're going to start running this campaign. We are running this thing called My First 1,000, right? So My First 1,000 is going to be our endeavor where we are going to help, ideally my goal is in the beginning to help 1,000 people get to $1,000. Help 1,000 people get to $1,000. Initially with membership courses. So I'm going to be doing a lot of free training for these people, and this group will always be free. So I'll set up, basically what I'm doing is I'm setting up an open Facebook group. Again, when I say open, it is still closed. You have to answer a few questions to get in. But if you want to make money selling membership sites, this is for you. The thank you page isn't ready yet, which is why I'm not linking it to you. But if you want to make money selling courses, selling membership sites, membership site access, this is for you. With this, I can reach out a much wider audience, a much wider audience. They might have Kyvio, they might not have Kyvio. Once in a while, I can recommend them to buy Kyvio. But most importantly, what I want to do as a movement is help people turn what's in their head, what they know, what they're experts at, into something they can sell. And I want to help them do this for absolutely free, no cost whatsoever. So this for me will be an open group, which means more or less anyone is welcome. No spamming, of course. I expect the engagement in this group to be actually, you will think it's high, but it's going to be actually low compared to the number of people that are there, because a lot of them will be lurkers. Because if you haven't paid for something, you're not really going to want to be part of it, right? If you haven't paid for something, you'll be like, yeah, I don't really care anyway what's going on in the group. So engagement's going to be low. There are going to be a few people that are really engaged, really excited, but I'm going to have to share quite a bit of content here as well, just to get the engine going, just to get the spark going. But for me, this has a lot of other benefits. So for example, here's the thing. Kyvio for me is a platform. Let's say if you have a membership site where you're teaching people, Giselle, I'll use your example. You're teaching people how to do arts and crafts, right? So you can have a membership, a community of people who have paid you already. You can bring them into one room like this. But I hope for your sake, you still want to attract a bigger audience. So what you could do is you could run free web classes for people, or you can give away free trips and tips in an open community that you own about how to do arts and crafts, how to draw, how to paint, how to do other things. That's a completely open community. Once in a while, you'll sell them your course. But what your overarching goal, overarching aim in life is, I think, is to help a community of budding artists, right? So I would recommend in that case, building an open community of people that you just basically give out valuable content. They like you so much that they become your fans. They have no other option but to buy stuff from you because they're like, this person's giving us so much, we must pay them something. And the important thing here is that people don't need to, you don't need to manage this group all the time. I mean, you have to manage it, but you don't need to create a lot of content for it. Other people can do it too. They will respond to each other. Right? Exactly. Giselle says, Kyvio is a tool, you are the vehicle to get people there. Exactly. And that's Giselle, so that's exactly what she's doing. Daily challenges gets people engaged. And this is going to be, I mean, think about this for a second, right? When someone asks them, hey, I'm thinking about learning arts and craft, what should I do? They'll say, join this group from Giselle. When someone asks them, let's say people who join My First 1,000 group, and someone asks them like, okay, I want to make $1,000, what should I do first? I want to make $1,000 overnight, what should I do? They'll be like, well, there are a lot of different ways to do it. I would recommend joining My First 1,000 and asking this question there. Right? So it goes viral via word of mouth. And I use viral kind of loosely, right? So that's the open community that we're angling towards. Once we have the open community, once we have the closed community here with the Kyvio group, then what we're also going to have is people generating results, people making money. So what I can do again, when I have like 100 people interested, I can ask them, and I might ask them to pay something just so that I can get someone to be available and keep the group running, right? Someone to manage and make sure that anyone who posts sometimes, we make a note that, yeah, they posted something valuable, stuff like that. So I might get those results getters or go-getters. I'll say, hey, listen, I'm setting up a Kyvio elite group. This comprises only of people that have made at least $10,000 with Kyvio. If you're interested, here's the fees, and this fees goes towards this thing. If you're interested, here's the button to sign up. And they sign up. Right? They might not. They might say, oh, Neil, this is good, but I don't feel this will be valuable for me, and that's okay. I could give them like a free month, and if they want to stick around after, $49.99 a month, even more if I'm doing live events, for example. Let's say if I say, oh, it's $1,000 a month, and every 6 months we're going to meet in like one part of the world, and you don't have to pay anything for that. So this is now more higher level, but that way we are creating a group of elite people. And of course, the higher your barrier, the more elite it would be. Eventually we'll say, okay, this is only for like people who've made $1 million. And then that becomes hyper elite. You go after those people. And imagine, if you had made 10,000 bucks, wouldn't you want to be in room with other people that have made 10,000 bucks doing the same thing that you're doing? Wouldn't you want to know what's working for them, what's working for you? So this is a natural progression of communities. And that's what you should be doing in your business as well. It's a long play, but trust me now, like I hate SEO. Email lists are good, but they don't go viral. There's no word of mouth with email lists. With Facebook group, with communities, the word of mouth is really, really strong. And you can use it to your advantage. You can use it to do more in your business. Does that help? Does that make a little bit of sense? Let me know. So Giselle says, I did a free painting class to celebrate Frida Kahlo. It was only in the group, emailed my list, did some social media posts, everyone came in, and after the free class, I got a 22% membership sign up with a common comment. People love the way I taught the free class. Giselle, that is perfect. I mean, 22% of people signing up straight from your free training that you did is a massive number. It is very, very big. Now, Mandy says, very similar to Joe Polish model, 25K to 50K to 100K per annum memberships. Oh, interesting. I actually met Joe Polish, a really nice guy. He did pitch me on 25K thing. I couldn't join at that time. I didn't want to, but I didn't realize he had something similar as well. But that's good. That's useful. So yeah, again, for your business, I mean, build your business around communities, because there's going to be all different kinds of communities competing with yours. But if you can keep people's attention, you can keep them focused on your message. That's the important thing. My first 1,000, I mean, for us, luckily with my first 1,000, it's generic enough. This year we're doing my first 1,000 with membership sites. Next year we're going to do my first 1,000 with funnels. The year after, my first 1,000 subscribers, and so on and so forth. So we are able to land on something which is generic enough that can be reused over and over again. Think about it for yourself as well, right? So I'm not saying take my first 1,000, but let's say you take, don't take my first painting, but Giselle could do my first painting or my first craft, my first origami, whatever it is that she was teaching, right? But then my first could be a movement that, I did this could be a movement, like I did this. Look at this drawing, I made this, right? That could be a movement. So think about a movement around your business, a community around your business. Don't be so laser focused on what you're doing so that you forget to entertain a bigger audience outside of who you're serving right now. They might not be a fit for you right now, but their circumstances might change. The least you can do is make sure that you're in touch with them when that happens, right? So build a community. Now that's just building a community. Let's talk about marketing your courses using Facebook groups. And I'm going to talk about two cases in this case. groups that are your own and groups that are not your own. So let me just delete this stuff. Okay. So marketing, courses, and let's say groups that you own and groups that are like someone else's, right? So let's call this third party. Third party. Okay. So if there are groups that you own, it's kind of easier, right? This is already targeted audience, and we don't do it that often inside our Kyvio group. Once in a while, I would say once a month, we go in with, hey, this is a product that we're coming out with. Are you interested to sign up? Are you interested to buy? That usually gets a lot of engagement, especially if we tie it back into the first reason, the core reason why they came into the group to begin with, right? So having your own group, marketing is easier. I mean, if you know product launch formula says do video number 1, do video number 2, and do video number 3. And on video number 3 is where you make the pitch, right? So people come here on day 1, day 4, day 7, and this is where you pitch. If you have your own group, you've already done most of this work. Then you can go straight to this. If you have your own group, you can bypass the who am I, you can bypass the here are my results, you can bypass that, look at all these testimonials. If it's an engaged group, most of that is already there. That's why they're there. If they're not engaged, they're not going to care. One thing we quite often do, and again, I say quite often, but once every 2 or 3 weeks, is we do one of those engagement posts where people have to comment to get something. Now, I don't like doing that because it's very markety, but it does work. It gets people who haven't been getting our messages, getting our notifications from Facebook. They suddenly notice like, oh, here's Kyvio. I want to get this free thing they're giving away as well. So that works really, really well as well. And that's exactly what we'll be doing over the next couple of weeks as well to get people into my first 1,000. All right. So own groups are easy because you have already built a lot of traction. You've already built karma points with these people, and they care and like you. They want to spend time with you. Other groups, third-party groups, groups that you don't own, are a different ballgame altogether. Now, I can tell you, depending on the size of the group, let me see if I can go back to this. If I go to, for example, and Kajabi's are competitive, right? But I think I am in their group as well somewhere. Let me see. I think I was Kajabi Heroes. Maybe it's not Kajabi, but Teachable. Okay, let's go in there. Lots of people, by the way. So I'm in the Teachable group as well. And now if I was to go in and basically talk about, hey, I'm running this My First 1,000 thing where I'm going to teach about how to build your membership sites. They might not be very happy if they connect that I'm also running Kyvio. So I can't do that, right? I mean, there's 24,000 people that I can't target directly anymore because I'm competing with them. I can't even go in and say, hey, I've got something very cool to share with you. Comment yes below, and I'm going to share that. That's really kind of scammy. In another group, in your own group, fine, you own it. But in someone else's group, it's a little bit questionable. So you can't do that. So with other groups, what you want to do, I mean, Teachable in this case is out of reach for me anyway. I think we can both agree on that. But what I can do though is, if it's not Teachable group, if it's just, let's say, another group, let's look for Tribe. There's Membership Mastermind. Let me see if I can get into that. Okay, Membership Mastermind, I'm part of that, but that I don't think they are behind any kind of specific membership, right? So I'm not really competing with them, but with My First 1,000, I might still, right? But I could still go in here, give a lot of value to people, share things that are working for me with a membership site, and then if they're interested, get them to sign for My First 1,000, right? I could do that. So with third parties, it's a little bit difficult. Let me just see if I can write it. It's a little bit difficult. It is more, how should I say, value driven. So you got to give it more value up front because that's the currency that you're exchanging deals with. What you can do though is you can find people that you know well, and you can maybe exchange a post with them on their group, or you can do some sort of cross posting. You can find some commonalities, reciprocation, whatever works for you. So for example, again, I can't do this in the groups that I know very well, but I could go to another group. Let's say I am Watchdog. This is like, Brett Rathicke's group. I can go in here and I can ask Brett, hey, I've got a really cool course coming out. That's I'm starting this thing. Is it okay if I post about it in your group? He might say no, he might say yes, but if he does say yes, that's great. I can get some visibility with him. So the point here is that you want to use any network that you have built, any karma point, any goodwill that you have built to get some things in return. If some of you came to me and said, Neil, I've built this really cool membership site on Kyvio, and I want to build my own group as well. The membership site is about this. I think it's relevant to the group. Do you mind if I post about my group in your group? I'll say, sure. I mean, you paid me money. You're a good person. You're taking action. Why wouldn't I help you? So these kind of things always work. All you have to do is grab attention, build a network, and you can leverage other people to build your own groups as well, build your own community. And then when you bring people into your own group, then you can comfortably market to them. It's difficult to market to people if they're not in your tribe already, but once they're there, you can easily market to them. Okay. The gated commenting also helps to show me what my group is really interested in. Yeah, it does. It does. So we use those 3 questions. When someone joins our group, we use 2 or 3 questions to get more information about them. And again, we don't do it right now for Kyvio, but we are going to, especially for My First 1000. We're going to keep a list of people as to what niche they're in. Have they made their first 1000 or not? And based on the questions come up, one of our team members can eventually tag those people and say, hey, do you want to answer this question? Or, hey, this might be relevant to you. That way, if people can't spend a lot of time in the group, they can just see the messages that are relevant to them. So that's it about building a community, about making sure that you give value to the community and also, make sales with it. Giselle says filtering people will help make sure ones who are really interested, engage, and take action. Exactly. I mean, unfortunately, Facebook, there are some limitations to it. For example, Facebook will tell me which people are the most engaged, but it won't tell me which people are the least engaged, because I would prefer to kick them out. Even, I don't know if Gyretics works anymore, because it was a Facebook tool, but I think Facebook changed their rules, the API rules. So I'm not sure if that works anymore, but if it does, I mean, that's something that you must use for your group as well, right? Because it's really good for community management, again, on Facebook. I think they're not too expensive either. Let me check how much they are. $15 per month, 5 groups. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Insights, think. I don't know if they have that thing where you can collect like the answers to the questions. I don't think they have that. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Let me know if you have any other questions I can help with. Good info, Annette. I appreciate that. I use Mighty Networks for amazing analytics. FB has to do a lot of work to catch up. I agree, Giselle. For Facebook groups, they just haven't paid enough attention yet. I think they're going to, though. I get a feeling that they are, because they were trying ads inside of groups as well, but I don't know where it's at the moment. I did talk to Mighty Networks. They seem pretty good as well, I have to admit. But I think for the open groups, I'll try and stay inside of Facebook. For, more elite groups, I might take them outside of Facebook. That just makes sense. All right. Cool. So that's it from my side. If you have any other questions, anything you would like to know, let me know. And if not, then we'll call it a day. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Yeah, Giselle says Mighty Networks has open groups as well. Facebook has too many ads and distractions. That it does. that it does, but it is free. Yeah, it is free. Easy to use, low barrier to entry. Okay. Thank you, Dominic, Annette, Mandy. I appreciate everyone interacting here today, and I think Eduardo had to leave, but that's okay. Lucian, good to have you here as well. And have a good rest of the day, everyone. See you next Tuesday. Bye.